Have you ever heard of the saying that God qualifies the called? He doesn't call the qualified. I met a woman who is the epitome of just that. She and I met at an event, and like 3 days later, I sat down with her for an interview. That is just how much of a powerhouse she is. I was like, my family needs to hear this. Now, if you want to start a business or whatever is it that you want to venture into and you're feeling disqualified, please watch this and take off, run with it. Hi everybody, I hope you are good. I hope you're doing very well. Welcome once again to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking. To my subscribers, thank you so much. To those who are coming across this for the first time, thank you, you're welcome. I'm here with a very special person and I want to introduce to you my best friend. If you think you knew my If you thought you knew my best friend, you're gonna know her even better today.
Oh wow!
Hi!
Hi, friend. Guys, imagine how many days. Let's tell me.
This is so embarrassing.
Guys,
we met how many days ago? Sunday.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We are besties.
We're on levels.
Okay?
When you know, you know.
When you know, you
when
know.
you know, you know.
Girl, when you've met your tribe, you've met your tribe. It doesn't
You've
take
arrived.
forever.
Yes, her name is Dimakatso from SA, from Botswana, from
Okay, let me officially introduce myself.
Please introduce yourself.
Okay. Yes, my name is Dimakatso, Mookodi, born and bred in SA, South Africa, in Joburg.
I've never been to Joburg, Dima, you know that?
No way!
Wait, have I? Wait.
Okay, OR Tambo is in Kempton Park, but it's not
Joburg?
It's not far from Joburg. It's East Rand.
That's how close I've been to.
Yeah, at least it's not far.
Just the airport.
The airport. Okay, no, you walk with.
Yes.
So Joburg, not really deep in the city, but like it's a accommodation. Now we call them. Mobotswana, what do you call Dikaulo?
The Dikaulo in like villages or.
There's villages and then there's semi-urban.
Yeah.
Ne?
Yeah.
Sorry. My people, I love you and I love Botswana, but I honestly really find it to just be one big village.
Yeah,
I always used to just come here to refresh when I need because not where I grew up. Where I grew up, I get to Mookodi village. Not that there are no villages in South Africa, but I don't even have family in the villages. All my relatives, badulako magationing, like we call them magation. It's like semi-urban, where you guys would be semi-village. It's semi-urban. It's similar to closer to Tlokweng. You know what I mean? Yes. So yeah, that's where I come from. Kisako Ranfanteni Kodi Componing. Yeah. So most people know that song. Kisako Ranfanteni Kodi Componing. That's where I come from. The componing is mines, guys. Mines, yes.
Okay.
So I'm from the mining city of Joburg.
Okay. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your childhood?
Okay.
Kodi Componing go.
Kodi Componing. Guys, I had a very interesting childhood, you know. I was just an ordinary kid playing in the street like other children. Like when I was growing up, we were Diketo, you know, all those things. And yeah, I'm from, like, my family is not that big, my immediate family.
Yeah.
So I've got an older sister and a younger brother who is like 10 years younger than me. So like, he has always been the baby of the family. My sister, we are 4-year difference.
Yeah.
And I used to play a lot with my sister. And we used to fight a lot. Sibling rivalry. But we get along so well now.
That gives me hope for my kids.
Yes. No. But
they fight.
No, my sister and I used to fight.
A lot.
And like, When we were playing, let's say we are playing Dimakatso or whatever the games that you have to play in groups, she will not pick me. She won't pick me. I was like, your sister, you're supposed to pick me. You know? But anyway, but right now, like my sister is now the catalyst of the family, the glue that keeps our family together. She loves us, that woman. She would do anything for me and my brother and our cousins, because we grew up. So it's my mom and her sister. So there's just 2 siblings. The other 3 passed away when they were young. We grew up in the same house with my grandmother and my mom and my aunt. So they had kids. My mom had us and my aunt had her children. So we are like all sisters. Like, so my aunt has 4, my mom has 3. So it's 7 siblings in total. So my cousins are like my siblings. You know what I mean? And then so that's basically us.
And when one was young as a child, no.
What do you mean? I was a sweet child, guys. I was such a sweet.
You were?
No, I was. Honestly, I was a sweet child. I never used to cause trouble. Yes, as a child. Yes. Then I grew. I became a teenager.
What happened?
I became like, I found my voice. I think when I got to secondary school, you know, I then found my voice. I think, you know, when you grow up poor, we're very poor at home. So as a child, when you're poor, like it kills. For me, like I used to find that I don't fit in, you know. I would go to school, got plastic bag when my friends had backpacks, you know, so you would be like, you know, you don't want to be.
You know what the funny thing about me is? I grew up poor, but I didn't know it.
Like,
I only realize now that you was embarrassing.
So the truth is that, you know,
I didn't notice that we were poor.
As a child, the fact that you were eating, we didn't go to bed hungry. It was not that bad. But in the South African setting, when you don't have TV and you have to go to somebody's house to go and watch TV and you know you are poor.
Been there, done that a couple of times, but never saw a problem with that.
No. Then we knew, like that's when I realized, we don't even have TV. We must go, and because then you feel it when they say
like nothing, like. But I just felt rich.
We are fine. The one thing that kept me together, like the one person actually, my grandmother, like that woman, you know, in everything that was happening around us, she kept us grounded in prayer. My grandmother prayed about anything and everything. Like things that I would think that they're so
normal.
Like, why are you praying about this? You know? And there was always somebody coming to eat. Even though we didn't have much, my grandmother will find something to give to somebody.
I love her.
And I'm like, but this is our last bread. And my grandmother was like, Mudimu will give us bread. The fact that then, and this person is hungry, let's give this person. And, you know, my aunt and my mom had a very bad sibling rivalry, even when they're older. So for me, I thought that will, you know, deter my grandmother from praying. My grandmother prayed, and she believed that she will not sit them down. Like, you know how we want us to resolve issues and let's sit down, let's talk, who wronged who. She took it to the Lord in prayer. And so I always watched even how she would make her food. Like everything about my grandmother fascinated me. Like her aura, she was so like...
She still is.
Calm, she is. Yeah. She is. I'm talking about Akira as
like
when I was growing up.
Yes, when you're watching
so
her child.
She's calm, like she's never raised a voice
Me.
on me. Even, yes, she would ask us to clean the toilet, wash the dishes and all those things. And she had a way, if we didn't, like if I didn't, because the toilet was outside, ne? And I would not clean the toilet, ne? I won't clean the toilet because I'm thinking, toilet. My grandmother will wake you up at 4 a.m. She won't beat you, she won't make noise, she will just wake you up. So go and clean the toilet before you go.
4 a.m.
4 a.m. She had a way. So she'd make sure you will not.
You feel it. You will not do it
do
again.
this again. You won't repeat it. So yeah, she was a nice disciplinarian. So for me, everything that she did for me, I took it with love because she disciplined us with love. I don't know everybody else, but I feel like she prayed for me more than she prayed for anybody.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Like every time I would go home about anything and everything, my grandmother would pray. Because I don't know if my siblings and my other cousins would see her pray and hear her pray in the AMs. I would see my grandmother praying 30 a.m. And I admired that. I was like, even though I was a child and naughty, but I knew I was like, when I grow up, I want to be like her. I just wanted to be like my grandmother. And I think I'm becoming...
That warms my heart.
Yes, I'm becoming my grandmother, you know? So when she was turning 90 a year ago, I did an interview with her just to capture these moments because now we don't know how long we have with her, you know? And I just talked to her about from her childhood until her old age. And then I asked her, hey, you are blessed, ne? You are 90 now, you know? I went, Kiri, so do you think God is going to give you like more years? Maybe you'll live up to 100 years. And she says to me, this was last year, 2022. Her birthday is on the 1st of Jan. So we had this interview on the 1st of Jan, 2022.
Yeah.
So she's like, hey, no, I want 2022. You're no one like, I keep on listening. But she's still alive. This year she turned 91. And I can see that I don't know. But when I look at her, I can see that there's still so much life in her, you know? But whatever she says to her God in her private room when she prays, my grandmother wants to sleep.
Sure.
And I look and I'm like, you know, I have released her. Because, you know, when you love somebody that much, you don't want them to go at some point.
But you know that actually that is real love.
Yes, I've released her to
love and
sleep.
Say, I release you.
Yes, to say, you know what, even if my grandmother can sleep anytime from now, I've had the best time with this woman in life. And I know I'm going to see her again when Jesus comes. So I'm not worried. So mine will just have to be me to work out my own salvation.
With fear and
trembling, because she's done her part. I mean, so I'm like, I can go on and on.
You know, I just love how you know, it's like you are in your element. It's like one more back then.
Guys, that's the other beautiful part about my childhood.
Yes.
I had beautiful friendships. I'm a keeper. Yes. So I still have my friends from Standard 1 who are still, like, I still talk to them, like we are sisters now. We've become family.
I have friends from Standard 1.
You know? Yeah. Yes. And I love them so much. We get along. I think people that I met here and there in life, some of them, they fall off.
That happens.
Yes, my number ones.
You know, when you're talking like this, it reminds me of how our children these days, we don't give them time to go outside and make friends. They're always on their phones. When are they going to make lifetime friends?
I was so happy when when my son started school, there was this young boy that his friend at school.
Yeah.
That he loved so much, you know? And you know this thing.
And how old is he?
He's now 8. He's turning 9 this year in April.
Mm.
So he loved this little boy and he would talk about him all the time. And he's like, Mommy, I would like to go and visit my friend Jaden. But I'm like, but I don't even know Jaden's family.
Yeah.
So I need to first know Jaden's family before I allow you to visit. So we made that connection with the family, and eventually then I would allow them to start visiting. Unfortunately, then a year later, Jaden moved. Jaden was colored, but he was more black. So in South Africa, we've got white, black, so yeah, he was more black. Now he had an Indian friend at school, and he loved this Indian friend. So when we arrived here, so we stay at Mookodi. It's a multi-race. Our neighbor has a little boy. When we arrived, this boy was standing outside minding his own business, just playing. And when my son got out of the car, it was like you and me. It's as though they've known each other. Fortunately, God knew if there's one thing I want for my child, as much as I want him to see heaven, and I still want my child to enjoy childhood. For me, the best childhood is playing.
Outside in the soil.
Yes. When he comes back from school, he's got new friends now at school. But when he comes back, after he is done with his homework, friend, you know? And I'm praying to God that...
And you're encouraging.
I'm encouraging it.
When we were growing up, we'd get beaten. So many friends. We are on the allowed to mail. Hey, Kazamako. Hey, Gabo Muto. What do you want to do?
I know that.
How is so hey, we suffered.
So no, friends. I'm encouraging that. I really want him to have one or two, and obviously the cousins as well, you know. Now I think most of our children's friends are their cousins.
Yeah.
But the thing is, how often do they see each other? Because we are too busy with our lives. We don't get to visit each other as we should. Siblings and whatever. So we grow up and they grow apart.
I think your childhood was similar to mine because I was raised by my mother, but my mother was a young mother. So my grandmother was, had so much influence in my life. She prays. That's where I learned the faith.
Wow.
I learned the faith from my grandmother. My grandmother prays all the time. She is always praying.
Yeah.
There was time she would go to church every day at 5 a.m. to pray, and I would follow her. She would say, Sala.
Hey.
And then I would let her go, and then I would just follow her.
Wow.
I would come running after her to church. So yeah, we would play outside, and we had grandmothers that are so influential in our lives. So tell me about your teenagehood.
So my teenagehood were mainly, obviously, so Mobotswana, I you guys have got primary.
Yes.
And then you've got middle, junior, and then
seniors.
So we only have primary, until junior, but it's in the same school. So
you find the standard one with Form 3? Same school?
Same school, yes.
Wow, so you have babies in school?
Yes. So when I went to high school, where I started...
High school is like now Form 4? From
2. Yes, from 2. I don't know how you call it.
Okay, maybe you can use age.
Can I use
okay,
grades?
Use grades then. Use grades.
I get so confused.
Okay, so it's grade what?
It's grade 9. Grade 9.
That's Form 2, yes.
Yes, that's Form 2. Okay, not bad. So I went to Form 2 there. I'm a teenager. I'm 14, like a fully fledged teenager.
Yeah.
So I get there. I know myself. I'm this smart girl, at school. And I still have my friends because we went from the primary school to high school. And, it was then that I really started knowing who I am. Like papa. Like I would say Neke Papa in high school. Like I knew a lot. I was
a
that girl who knew things. If you want to know, you must come to me. You know. But nothing much had changed. You know what I mean? The setup was still the same because my mother was still my mother. My mother was very Mama guys. Mama would hit you for anything and everything. Yeah. So I grew up like orderly. I was an orderly child. But I was beaten a lot, even in that instance. You know?
In case you misbehave.
But like you were beaten for such things, for late coming, for you come from a friend's house. And then maybe you just didn't wash the dishes, like little minute things like that. But anyway, I grew.
For breaking le bonne.
Yes. But you see, right now, truth is, in my young adult life, I started appreciating how
the beatings. I'm here to appreciate that.
I honestly started appreciating the fact that my mother did beat us. There were times where it borderline became abusive. I swear, it became like I feel like there was, but it really shaped me. The beating really shaped me. I mean, even the Bible says, "Spare the child, spare the rod."
True.
And so I'm a fan. I don't beat my child. I don't have it in me.
Like at all.
At all. I've never.
Oh, he's a good boy.
Like yes, he listens.
Yeah.
Like
if he I don't think that if he listens, he needs to get a beat.
Yeah, no, he listens.
Yeah,
he's such a good child.
You are blessed.
I thank you.
I beat.
Is it? Yeah.
Here and there. Not all the time.
But
my mom thinks I should be beating them more often.
Daddy beats once in a while because Daddy has got short fuse nyana with misbehaving. I'm a
patient.
I'm patient. You see, I'm very.
You can hold a conversation and be like, "So, tell me, why did you do that?"
Yes, as long as there's understanding and
don't talk back.
When he says sorry, he must say what he's apologizing for. I'm teaching him as a man because you know how men are. They would say sorry. Okay, hardly say sorry. But when they do, it's just a sorry that doesn't have substance. So because he's a boy and I'm grooming a man to be one day somebody's husband, hopefully one day, while we are still waiting for Jesus to come. He needs to say, I'm sorry for. Yes. Because I believe an apology that does not have justification of what you have done, it's not deep. I'm deep like that. But nonetheless, so high school, I finished high school. Like I was, well, I was not a straight A student. I was just an average student at school. I passed my grades very well, never failed a grade.
Wow.
Completed my matric, grade 12, then many years ago.
Hard to believe.
You wanna tell them?
They'll think I'm lying.
Okay.
Guys, you know her age.
Hey, yeah, no, it's a shocker.
Do you wanna tell your age?
I'll be 43 on the 27th of June, 2023. Yes. 80 guys. I get you see lately hot trend that thing my ing by 10 at 23 this year, my 90 by 10 at 33, my 80 only 90. We see. So you have a baby. Sorry, I can't be your friend.
No, I look like your mother.
I'm kidding. I do have friends that are younger because I'm young at heart.
Yeah.
I'm so young at heart and I love it. So
you're deceitful. You look really young.
Like guys, I believe Jesus was young at heart.
You know,
like I mean, when we get to heaven, remember we are not going to age. Me, I think in a little double grace, foretaste of heaven.
Definitely.
Anyway, we are diverting now.
We always do.
So anyway, completed matric and I went to study in So because I did not get the A, and this is where I knew that we were poor again now, cementing
Constant reminder.
the poverty. There was no money to take me to further my education. And I've always wanted to further my studies, you know. So I wanted to study journalism. And well, my grades were not that great, and there was no money to. So my mother was like, do the next thing that you can find. So they had to put money together. My mom and my dad, they are not married, so they had to co-parent for me to go study. So there were these colleges in South Africa. They're still there. They're Bugas colleges. I didn't know because
Now what?
the Bugas colleges.
Bugas
they're fake.
Oh yeah.
So nobody used to check my homework at home. You know how we do? We sit with our children and check homework, and I never had that growing up. I was just passing, I don't know, by the grace of God. So, and I believe if I had that, when my grades started dropping, an adult would have picked up. A parent would have picked up, or no, the grades are dropping. What's going on? You know? So they dropped, but because I passed, they were just happy that I passed. So for them, as long as you passed. So, and I believe I'm the smartest girl that I know. Had I had that growing up, I would have probably been an A student. You know? I feel like I wasn't parented. I was parenting myself as a child. Hence, my grandmother for me became like I looked up to her because, you know, she was for me closer to a parent. My mother was there, guys. She was there. And I love her. She's still around. But she just didn't know how to. You know, our parents, we need to cut them a slack. I'm not blaming her now. I'm just talking from a point of understanding who I am, where I could have been if things were done differently. You know what I mean? It's just that they happened the way they did. But by God's grace, I managed to get to school. That fake college, it was what we call, I thought I was going to do IT. My friend and I, my standard one friend and I, we thought we were going to do IT. When we got there, it's basic computing, like introduction to computers, because we grew up not having computers. You know? So I can you start MS-DOS. Stiffy disk. Now I'm telling my age. If you don't know what a stiffy disk is, sorry, can't help you.
Shame.
So nonetheless, it became what it was, and at least they gave me basic computing. I could type. After that, after a year, dude, we graduated. We were wearing graduation gowns. Okay. Anyway, okay. Oh, she's still laughing.
I'm sorry. I think I need to hug.
I need a hug for this one, guys. Anywho, so we graduated. My parents came. Okay, my dad didn't come, but my mom came. You know, like we had gowns. We were wearing gowns. My friend and I got our certificates, and we're ready to face the world to go work.
Yeah.
But something, my friend was like, Marichom, what school is this? What did they teach us there? They taught us how to type. What IT? We might not know IT, Maria.
You wanna kill me?
Anyway, okay. Can we come back?
Yeah. We're here.
So now that I've completed my IT degree, so my mother's like, okay, no, now ufeditse skolo ngwanaka. Pasito graduatile. You need to go work. You need to go work. And at the time, I'm 19, you know? 19. Kids are making America. Hi guys, I'm 19. Well, not even 19. I finished matric at 17.
And how long did the school take?
I started school early. Like, it was a year. That IT course was a year.
Okay.
Like, imagine. So we graduated after a year. So I'm 18, to be precise, 18.
Sure.
So my mom says I must now go
work.
So I'm like, heaven. So it's time to start working. I know, guys, I'm too young to work. I need to go to school. I felt like I'm robbed. But nobody had the money to take me to school.
Yeah.
I started hustling. My friend and I were just out there. So we used to go to what we call the youth club back in the days. So after school, we'd go and do dance and performing arts, to just pass time. And the youth club that we used to attend, there was some NGO, non-governmental organization, that was doing a skills transfer, filling making. So they taught us how to use the video cameras and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
So now, after giving us the basics, I'm giving the basic again.
You get the concept.
When you give me the concept, that's why I feel like
you're the smartest.
I'm a genius, guys. See me. Give me the concept.
Yeah, I'll do everything.
I'll do everything. I'll figure it out.
I remember when I was still in UB, like University of
I know.
Kara. My friend and I would be studying at night and be like, go, let's get the concept. We'll do the questions in the examination. As long as we get the
concept. Yes.
Yeah, so we're getting concepts.
Me concepts, guys, I run with it. So I became a videographer. After the concepts. So I started, and back then, most of the videos were like huge, big. So I was this now 19-year-old girl who's hustling. I started my hustles back then.
Wow.
So I would go and videoize manyalo, the unveiling. Yeah, I got booked and got paid.
Wow,
Girl, I will go and sit at an edit suite and I will add subtitles. Wow. Basic. I will show you face.
But what at that point do IT or videographer?
Listen. So I did that for a year. So my friend then she got employed. Ne? So this friend of mine, her name Kipodiso. Kipola, let me call her by her name so that Pola, my friend, like this is our story. So she gets employed at an arts organization. So she becomes an art administrator. There's a famous place in Joburg called the Market Theatre.
Okay.
So, but she works at an organization there at the same vicinity as the Market Theatre. So the Market Theatre now, Leona has a school, a drama school. So she hears there's auditions at the school. They are taking new intakes. Whoever wants to study performing arts, they must come for auditions.
Yeah.
She calls me, Chom, on a little audition, Chom, go Market Theatre. You must come and audition. I'm like, what do they want, my friend?
What concept must I get now?
They want a monologue, Chom. Like a monologue, Chom. Monologues. Oh, you clapping? What's a monologue? Monologue, Chomi, where you speak alone. That's what you do. You dramatize, you perform by yourself. Okay. So I must write it. Hey, okay. No, I write. Okay, no. Let me write this monologue. God works in mysterious ways. So this one Sabbath I go to church before the audition.
Yeah.
And there's this man. He, when you are from South Africa, back then, artists used to have a certain look. You would tell you are an artist. They had dreads, they were not that clean. They were clean, but not clean. Like they had a scruffiana look, So I see this gentleman, he's coming to my church as we are walking through the door. And I'm like, hi, okay, everything. And I'm like, are you an artist? He's like, how? What do you mean? I'm like, you look like one. So the gentleman says, hey, okay, we'll talk after church. The gentleman was going to be the preacher of the day. With his look, imagine our church, Seventh-day Adventist. So conservative, but
especially back then.
Yeah, gentleman came to preach in his look. What's important was the message, and we got it. But as the church came out, lunch. In Botswana, I've noticed that during lunch, people don't really sit at church. They go home. In most cases, we bring lunch. We bring lunch at church, and we stay there, and we have lunch, and we'll go back for the afternoon service. Yeah. So we had lunch, and I was sitting with this gentleman, and I told him, then he says, yeah, I am an artist. I'm a musician. Oh, okay, cool. I teach music at the Market Theatre Laboratory. I'm like, huh? You teach at the Market Theatre? I'm going to have an audition at the Market Theatre next week. So they said I must prepare a monologue, a song, and whatever.
Can you sing?
I can't sing. I can sing, but I am not like the greatest singer. So,
but you get the concept.
Concept of singing. Got it. So the gentleman says, okay, you must bring a monologue. Let me have a look at it so that I can give you some pointers. So he even lectures at VETS, this gentleman, the music department.
Oh, nice.
So I go to him and he looks at my monologue, and my monologue was talking things about teenage pregnancy, what, because teenage pregnancy at the time was rife, and I thought I'm addressing a social issue. And it's like, have you been pregnant?
Yeah.
Like, no. So where are you going to get the emotions that are attached to the script? Look, it's like, what is a burning issue in your life? So he then helped me. I told him about my mom and we had issues at the time. So he's like, let's write about that. So we wrote a new monologue. I had to rehearse, and I went to an audition, and they liked it. My performance.
Yeah.
And I was in. Then I got accepted at school. For me, I'm speaking as now. I'm 21 at the time. 20, turning 21, proper school.
Not just concept.
Not concept this time around. I'm like, God, you are amazing.
And they're going to be sponsoring? At
first, I was paying. So I didn't know there was sponsorship. That's what I'm coming to. When I'm like, God, God will set you up. And I got there, the first month, my grandmother used to give me. So now I had to travel from Mookodi with train. Oh. So I would catch a train at like 5 a.m. so that I'm at school by 8 or 9 o'clock, depending on what time the classes were starting. So I was always tired at school, because train back from school, I will catch a train 5 p.m., get home around 8. So
for how long?
I did that for like 2 months, traveling with the train. But also then, remember, my grandmother is an old granny. She's not working. My mother wants me to work. So this is where the issues were now deep. So my mom and I were not even on speaking terms at the time. So she doesn't even know that I go to school. I'm my grandmother's child. My dad had promised to pay for my school, but then he was like, Akira, this is drama school. I don't know what happened. It's like he doesn't have money to make me a celebrity. So I'm like, wait, what's going on here? These parents, they don't see the potential of me becoming
the next
best,
You know?
whoever.
Yeah.
Anyway, we leave it. God sent an angel. Another friend of mine, her mom was a teacher, so she paid for my registration fees. Now I need to pay the fees for the tuition fees. I don't have, there's no money. My grandmother doesn't have. So I go to the office after 2 months. I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to have to drop out of school because I don't have fees, tuition fee, and I travel from far, and actually even the money to come to school, it's a challenge. So they're like, no, you don't have to drop out. There's actually a scholarship for children like you. Like, really? Yes. So you need to find a place close by to the school. We'll pay for your accommodation, food, pocket money, everything. Now I'm sorted. Now my education starts officially. So they give you 2 years training. This is, again, drama school, that school is 2 full years. So they don't have intakes within the 2 years. You are the only, there was 18 of us that for that 2 years. So they train you, and then release you into the world of acting. So, but there's an exit interview when you leave the school. So because they want to know now, because they don't only equip you with acting skills. There's writing, there's acting, there's technical things. So I was more technical at school than I was a performer.
Oh, okay.
So when we did the exit interview, they asked me, what are you going to do after school? And I'm like, I would like to be a lighting technician and a sound technician, lighting or sound technician. Then they said to me, okay, there's a 2-year external program for technicians that you need to interview, we need to interview you for that and see if you qualify, and then you will continue for the next 2 years for training, for technical strictly, because this was mainly the performance training. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm game. Let's do this. So, but before then, the school took us to Sweden for a student exchange. Girl, my first time on a plane.
True.
I did not go to Gaborone, Agaya Debeni. My first time in a plane. Sweden, girl. So we go for the student exchange. It was a 3 weeks thing, and it was nice. When we came back, that interview happened, and they then, those questions in an interview where they ask you, so after 5 years, where do you see yourself? And here I am interviewing for technical stuff, but part of me is wanting to become the producer. I want to produce the productions, after. So concept, bigger picture. I'm that person. So you give me the concept, I see the bigger picture. So I'm like, I can't just
do lighting and sound.
I have to be the overall person who oversees everything. So they're like, oh, okay. So they take me for the technical training. I train, I work. Oh, they pay you while you are training, girl.
What school is that?
The Market Theatre.
Oh, yeah.
It's an institution. It's not like your varsity university. So you are doing your in-service training. Then I'm there and I'm doing so well. From there, after that, I started my work life. 2 years passed, finished, started my work life. I started working now as a technician. Worked with Bojoya's Celebration and, nice jobs. So the technical work became, I'm too feminine and I was tiny.
Yeah.
It just became too masculine for me after 2 or 3 years, And I'm like, man, no. I think I want change.
Another time you are 20...
Now I'm like 25, 26. There's an opportunity for me to work with the Lion King. So I go for this Lion King interview. They're like, okay, no, we're going to have to go train you guys, go Disney. But we're going to do the theater production part of the Lion King in SA, but we are going to train you outside of South Africa. I'm like, oh, great. But this is on a like freelance contract basis, so it's not a permanent job. So as a in the arts, there's no permanent job unless if you are working it as an art administrator, then you will get a permanent job. As long as you are technical or even technical. Get a gig.
Yeah.
So I used to do a lot of gigs, and I'm like, age, time, all these gigs, even the Lion King thing, it's still a gig, you know?
Nice.
Like, hey, no, time is running out. I need to build my life. I've had lots of fun
to
settle down.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying my bonana baga, but akisale bonana. Growing now, I need to have assets. So, I pray about it. And also, because of the work I was doing, when you work in the arts, you work on Sabbath. So I'm like, my relationship with God has taken a detour, because now sometimes I have to work on Sabbath, and no, I need to find something that's not Sabbath related. And I was like, hey, Lord, what now? And lo and behold, there was a sister of mine who worked in advertising at the time. And she's like, hey man, there's a company that's looking for somebody. You don't have to have experience. They're looking to train a young black woman to become a producer, to produce ads, radio ads. So remember the producer, when I said I want to be, but I didn't think I want to be a producer in the advertising space. I didn't even know that world exists. So when I look at my life, I got the job and I was trained and I did well, I excelled. And I now became, right now where I am, to cut a long story short of my career, I'm a producer. I produce my own content of things. When I told you I wrote my own book, a children's book, I produced a theater production of that book for kids. So it was a children's theater production. So I feel like anything that I do is a production. I have become a producer. I manufacture bags. So I produce
bags.
Yes, bags, like backpacks and laptop bags.
Oh.
I produce the clothes that I wear.
Like this?
This, the one I'm wearing, So I'm a producer. I'm not a consumer. Underline.
From concept to producer.
Yes, girl. So, but I'm not taking credit for all this,
Yeah.
Because everything that I have done, I feel like I'm so underqualified for anything. When they say God qualifies the called, I'm a embodiment of that. When I look at what God has done with my life, in my life, all these years, I'm like, I couldn't have done that. I was the least in most cases, I was the least qualified. So, but God put me there and He qualified me. And I don't take that lightly when it comes to my career.
So you do clothes, you do bags, you do radio ads, you do
children's books.
What, like different children's books?
I only wrote one kids book, and I wrote that and I produced that in all South African languages. Because in South Africa we do 11 languages.
What's the name of the book?
It's called, in Setswana, Molemi yo bidiwang a ganang. It's about farming. A little boy who learns how to farm. Part of me has always wanted, to connect with my roots. I wouldn't say culture per se, because I'm uncultured.
I want to hear about that part.
Yeah, but there some richness that comes with being black. And I feel like as a South African, we are deprived of that authenticity of being a black person. You know, in Botswana, you guys have Masimu and that. For me, I really would give anything. And God, being God and favor, He decided, when you will marry Botswana, I will give you that experience through marriage.
Masimo Moraka,
villages, all those things, because I was not exposed to those things growing up. So anything for me would go. But as I'm growing, I'm like, I feel like I'm a watered down version of a person. I don't have
I feel
that thing. You know?
Your roots.
Artificially.
Oh.
Like, you know, I may be too hard on myself. So, probably. And I think I found that when I started working in advertising, because I started working with African languages. And because concept, I got there, I'm like, and I'm like, now in this company, we have to, the company, okay, we do have translators in different languages, but now I must sit and proofread all these scripts that have been translated in all languages. I've English and Afrikaans at school. Afrikaans because if you ask any black South African, most of us will tell you, we don't know how we passed Afrikaans, but we passed it. Because it was that one language that most of us didn't understand. We just, we still don't. But now I'm here, I'm having to say this script, it's translated in Xitsonga, for instance, Sepedi, Xhosa, isiZulu. I've never seen a copy of that language. Like I grew up not being exposed to the language. Yes, it was spoken here and there. But having to work with a written copy of it and having to say, yes, it's translated correctly. I was taught to master the language. Like somehow, don't ask me how, God's favor. And now I can sit and even the translators, now that I run the company, the translators that work for me, when they translate my scripts, I can tell when something is not translated. And when I bounce it off to them, I'm like, no, this here, you did not really translate what the copy is saying. Can you fix this? What is the right word for, like, law, for instance? You know, this is not the right one.
Sure.
And God's grace, God's favor. I am not qualified. People go to school to do the work that I do. They study for years to become linguists. Like, I'm not a... So, yes. I'll leave it there.
Wow. To the preservation of African languages and the empowerment of her people. So yeah, her name is Dimakatso. Tina Dimakatso skira bisibabisa ngabokatso. Sawubona sisiya.
Sawubona Dimelang.
Shabukunjani mfethu?
Dimelang babethi ba Alex FM.
All right.
Right.
Siyaphila. You do so much and you look young. You do so much.
I think that's what keeps me young.
Nah?
Yeah.
Nice one, because we touched on your profile.
Yeah.
And Feti Maganga, not a musician. Not what is doing in Katzabopra, you must again. He's still holding it down, Joe. Promise you good.
I'm very well.
Nice one, Fetu. And we're here to talk about
EJ Queendom.
EJ Queendom. One of your businesses. One of them, one of men, Fetu. What motivated you, or in the case of this J Queendom?
J Queendom, right? It started off as a concept of a book I was actually writing.
Right.
Because I write children's storybooks.
Okay.
So in the concept, in the story that I was about to write, there was a character that had a backpack. this backpack had a lot of medical things in it. So because of this character, I decided, since the story is going to take long because I want it to be an animation movie to develop,
Sure.
let me start with the merchandise and make J Queendom trend. And the first thing that came to mind.
So Dima, it seems like you were doing well. Oh, yeah, South Africa. Was in school, get the concept. You've worked. You're running your own company. Like,
Hey, Mosadi. Yalo.
yellow.
Guys. I don't know why hashtag him John.
What
Skip. No, there was no Mjolo. I didn't Jola. I
Really?
moved